guys, Sherry here from Superhairpieces. Welcome to our Super Hairpiece mini class where we will be going through how to cut a hair system on a mannequin head. I'm also going to show you how to cut the base from a template and do an installation. So stay tuned because here we go. So we have our hair here. I'm going to wet them down a little bit. Now, if I had a different system, like a mono-base system or a lace system, I could actually pin it to the head. However, with any skin-based system, you do not want to pin the actual base to the head, as you don't want to puncture any holes in the base of the skin. Puncturing holes is going to essentially make any of the glue seep through, which is counterintuitive to what we want. So you want to make sure with anything to do with skin systems, you're not actually going in and puncturing that hole with a pin. So when I'm going in and I'm actually going to clean up that extra skin at the front, I'm going to brush his hair back. Now you could do this on a mannequin head in the back room prior to the client coming in. These kind of steps you never really want to rush through. You want to take your time. Having a nice front hairline is going to be ideal for your client. So, you know, these are the kind of steps you're going to kind of take your time. Make sure you're very intricate with your cutting. You don't want to gouge into that front hairline too much, cut into too much hair at the front. Those things are going to really affect your front hairline if you do go a little too fast or get a little, you know, too overzealous with cutting off that extra skin or lace. So I'm just going to go in and just hold that hair out of the way. Again, I like to use some really small, delicate scissors that are going to help to be very intricate with what I'm doing. I'm going right to that very edge where the hair is starting, taking small little sections. Again, not going too quickly and leaving as much of that hair at that front hairline as possible. Now this would be the same if you were going in with some lace. If there was lace at that front edge, you would do the exact same thing, making sure to keep that front hairline as clean as possible and going as close to the hairline as possible without removing the hair itself. Just trim my guy here. When you're taking the class, the full class, you actually get to use, do it on both. So we actually, when you're taking the class, we have a skin-based system and we also have a mono-based system with the front lace at the front. So you do actually have two systems you are practicing with, which really just gives you an array of systems to work with and how to work with those systems because, you know, it is a little bit different for each system. How they react, what you can do with them, you know, how you're going to customize them. These things really do make a difference with different kinds of bases. All right, so I removed that front skin off of the system. So now I have a nice clean, as you can kind of see, line at the front without that extra skin there. So that's for the system here. But this system is obviously going to be too big for my client, so I'm going to have to customize this to make sure that he has the right size for his head and his balding area. You can do this in a couple ways. You can make a template. So I made this with filament tape and saran wrap. Another thing we're showing you during the class on how to make a really great template, how to customize templates to any kind of client, whether it's the crown area, the full top of the head, maybe even just a front partial. You can make a template for any of those. For this gentleman, we're just doing a basic template. You can also do it by measuring. So if you have a system and you're looking to kind of determine what area you need to cover the head, you can go in with your client and focus on his actual area that needs hair. When you're looking at the front of an individual, usually you're going to go in and you're going to use what we call the 4-finger rule. Everybody is different, so I always say have the clients use their own 4 fingers. So for example, with myself, if I took my 4 fingers and I put them on my head, starting at the bridge of my nose to the top of my head, you can see that it lines up with my actual hairline. And that's usually where a hairline should sit on a client. Now, again, using their fingers because everyone's fingers are different. However, if you have a gentleman who has really thick, big hands, he might want to just use 3. So you're going to kind of gauge where that line should be for each individual. So if I go with my guy here, his hairline is possibly going to be approximately right here. I've already pre-marked him when I was making this template. So that's where his hairline is going to sit today, is at that area right there. You also want to watch what kind of line you're doing at the front. Everybody is a little bit different. Some clients, if they're a little bit older, they're going to have more of what we call like an A-shaped hairline, where it's going to kind of curve in. It's going to add more recession to that area, which is going to help to make it look more natural for an individual who is perhaps a little bit older. He's going to have that little bit of a recession showing. If you go straight across with somebody who's a more mature individual, what's going to happen is it's going to look like too much hair in here. It's not going to look natural. We still want to give our clients hair, but we still want it to look natural and age appropriate. So always make sure you're looking at that front hairline and determining what's going to best suit each individual. Now, this guy's a mannequin. He's pretty much perfect. So it's a little bit more perfect looking at the front. But again, every individual is a little bit different. So, like I said, I've made my template based on his area here. I've gone in, perhaps if he has hair at this point, I've most likely shaved him off so he has a nice clean dome. I'm going to have my system. Now, I'm not going to do this on my client, but today we just have a pretend head. I would do this in the back room where I'm looking to kind of customize my piece at this point. I want to make sure it's very much in the middle. And again, if I was working with a mono-based system, I could pin this to make sure it's staying in place. But because this is a skin, I really want to make sure that I'm not going to puncture that system at any point. So now that I have that on there in a good area, all right, I am going to go and outline the area that I need to cut. So I've outlined my piece. So my main thing is, number 1, yes, use a small pair of scissors. Number 2, when you're going in, you want to go in with that bottom blade flush against the system. So you want it so that bottom blade stays flush with the system so that you're always maintaining. It's almost like that bottom blade is sliding along that edge. You're cutting with the top blade so that you're not actually cutting with the bottom blade, cutting the hair. So if I go in, I'm taking small little cuts, going around, following my template line. Again, even if I take the scissors out, I'm going to grab them again and slide them in so they maintain flush to that base. Okay, so got my piece off. I can take my hair piece now. I know where my gentleman is here. I'm just going to go in and check out how this sits on the head. Making sure it all lines up. Yeah, so we're good. So I like to use a little bit at a time so that I'm not going in and using too much product if I don't have to. So this glue itself, it is, so you can see, it has a lot, it's very filamenty. So it has, like, once it starts to get tacky, little filaments come off of this glue. So it can be very sticky and very hard to work with. So you just want to use a little bit. Less is more. More is not more. I can't say that enough when it comes to adhesives. You want to make sure you're going in. I go to the edge and I'm just dragging that glue so I have a nice thin layer. I do not want to overdo this glue. It's not going to hold better if you have a thicker layer of it. I'm telling you right now. It actually holds better when you have a nice, clean, thinner layer of this adhesive on the piece. So again, I'm kind of just edging it to the front, to the edges, and just pulling it or spreading it as far as it's going to go on the piece. So I'm not oversaturating. So one of the things when it comes down to the actual gluing of this system, you're going to notice, this is going to be, and this I'll see, when a hair piece is pretty much, when the glue is good, it's going to be tacky, but it's not going to be filamenty. So I'm going to show you an area where I can still see it's a little bit wet. So see, if it does that, that glue is still very much not ready to be put on. You want it to be just tacky to the touch, where I can just kind of touch it and it's not going to do anything. If it's pulling up and you're still seeing the filament in the glue itself has not cured enough. You want to make sure your glue is always cured enough so that, you know, it has that proper adhesion. The biggest problem when you're installing a piece is essentially one of two things. You haven't let the glue dry enough, or you put way too much product on. When you're putting way too much product on, number one, it's going to take forever to dry. And number two, if it's not dry, it's not going to adhere properly to the head. So that's one thing you want to take that time to make sure that it's dried properly. And I'm just going to go in and lay down the front. Now, this is the point where I actually push down that front. I get it nice and good. And then I ask the client to hold that front edge. And that's going to help for it not to actually move back, forward, to the side. I'm going to make sure that that front edge is down nice and smooth. I'm going to slowly take the system back. You don't want to over pull. You don't want to do anything that's going to overlap onto the hair. You want to make sure it's nice and flush. And again, take your time. It's not a rush, right? We're not here to rush the actual installation. We're here to make sure that it's good on the client's head. Next, I'm going to pull it forward. Again, slowly taking that back. Okay, and then we're gonna go in and make sure that's all down. When you're using a glue, especially using something like Ultra Hold, it should not budge because that's on there good. So now I have his system on. It's been glued to the front, so his front hairline is on there really good. He's not gonna have any lifting. He hasn't moved back at all. He slightly just covered that white line, so we're good there. And now we have our hair on our guy. Cutting hair system is specific to each individual. Everybody has their own specific styles that they want to do. There is no, we're all hairstylists in the end. There's no, like I say, right way or wrong way to cut hair, but there are some tips and tricks. So I think the hardest part when cutting a hair system is actually making sure you have a nice blend. Really, in the essence, that's what we want, because we want to make sure that the client looks like he's not wearing a hair system. I'm just going to reiterate for you guys that this class, these individuals who have joined the class today, you can enroll to our full Evolve class. We have in-person classes or we have online. So if you're doing in person, that would be for anybody living within the area, or hey, if you want to come travel and see me, you can do that also. If otherwise, you can do it online. We do provide a full kit. So you get the full kit, you get a full live course. So in that course, you also get 60 pre-recorded classes that are yours to keep to watch at any point in time. So you basically have the whole class that you're doing, plus we have a full recorded classes. You get a full-size business kit, which is going to include glues and tapes, a mannequin head, a stand. You're getting 2 hair systems to cut during the training. The training material and catalogs. You also get a completion certificate once you're done, so you can put it on your wall stating that you have completed the course. And again, guys, like, you also get wholesale pricing when you take the course, so you actually get discounts at Superhairpieces. And you're learning from experts. Well, you're learning from me, but you're learning from experts in the industry who have been in the industry for a long time. So we go through this again, along with so much more information. You're learning all about your bases and glues and you know, what to do, what not to do, how to discuss, you know, hair systems with a client, maybe how to do a consultation for a custom hair piece. Because again, custom hair pieces, different story. When would you use a custom hair piece? When could you use a custom hair piece? When is it ideal to use one? We go on helping you how to do that, even how to go through our website and, you know, just learn how to grow your business, because essentially this is a business. And I will tell you right now, I do a lot of consultations for a lot of clients, and we have clients throughout everywhere that are looking for a place that can do their hair. And really, you know, it would be nice to be able to grow your business that way, because, you know, like I said, I have a lot of people all the time, hey, do you have a salon, or do you know a salon that's in this area that can do this? So, you know, it would be really easy for us to send you clients and kind of have you grow your business that way also. And I hope to see some of you there. And thanks for joining me today, guys. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I'll see you in the future.